In the stillness of December 16th, a shift occurred. 3I Atlas, the third confirmed interstellar object, crossed a threshold just 1.8 astronomical units from Earth, a distance both vast and unsettlingly close. Its trajectory defied known physics, bending in ways that contradicted gravitational models. Its tail pulsed with intent, releasing bursts of light and particles that seemed encoded, a cosmic signal that astronomers struggled to decode. Planetary defense centers worldwide entered silent protocol, no alarms, just quiet escalation. This was no asteroid, it was deliberate. The object moved with precision, its velocity fluctuating in increments of 0.03 kilometers per second, as if responding to unseen signals. Astronomers at the European Space Agency tracked its path using the Gaia satellite, revealing anomalies that suggested active course corrections, not passive drift. The International Astronomical Union acknowledged its interstellar origin, but offered no explanation for its behavior. Over the next 22 chapters, we'll analyze the data, the tail shifts, the infrared narrowing, and the magnetic echo detected by the Parker probe. Launched in 2018, the probe picked up a faint signal, a harmonic frequency pulsing in sync with 3I Atlas's tail emissions. This Atlas echo resembled artificial patterns used in deep space communication. But most importantly, we'll ask, why did planetary defense simulations rerun 5 times that morning? If 3I Atlas isn't a comet, and if the patterns continue, it means we're not just tracking an object, we're being observed. The countdown to December 19th has already begun. Mission control rooms were tense but controlled. Analysts scanned data that refused to align with known variables. Engineers in Houston ran spectral analysis on the object's emissions, finding a chemical composition unlike anything in their database. Observatories worldwide captured images revealing a geometric pattern in its tail, too perfect to be natural. Each pulsation of the object's tail seemed to count down to something inevitable, something that would change everything. The world held its breath, waiting for the signal to clarify, for the silence to break. For now, only the hum of machines and the ticking of the clock filled the air. You're standing on the edge of something humanity was never meant to find. If that idea gives you chills, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment with your theory. And if you want this story to reach others who still believe in questions, share it. X, Facebook, Reddit, or your group chat. You're helping light up the dark. Thank you for being part of this. For now, only the hum of machines and the ticking of the clock filled the air. Chapter 1. The Silent Alarm. On December 16th, the world spun in silence, unaware of an anomaly buried in orbital logs. Deep within the European Space Agency's ESA Near-Earth Object NEO Coordination Center, a tiny blip triggered quiet protocols. In the sterile, humming rooms of the ESA headquarters in Darmstadt, Germany, technicians leaned closer to their screens, eyebrows furrowed. The object, a mere speck of light in the outer reaches of the solar system, had been unremarkable for years. But why did it sound the silent alarm? The answer lay in its trajectory, a thin, glowing line on astrophysicists' screens. What should have been a routine outbound path after perihelion had subtly shifted, edging closer to Earth's orbital plane. This slight deviation, a mere 0.03 degrees, defied natural explanation. gravitational influences from neighboring planets, the gentle nudge of solar radiation, and even the remote possibility of outgassing from the object itself, couldn't account for such a deliberate adjustment. 3i Atlas seemed to follow Earth's motion like a sail adjusting course in response to an unseen wind. Trajectories don't adjust themselves, yet this one did. Observation. 3i Atlas had been observed for years, its orbit meticulously catalogued by the Minor Planet Center, which tracks over 900,000 known objects in the solar system. Post-perihelion, it should have been outward bound, retreating into the cold expanse beyond Neptune. But its path now brought it closer to Earth, a deviation so unlikely that it sent astronomers scrambling for explanations. The odds of a natural deviation were astronomical, calculated at less than 1 in a billion. Speculation. Theories emerged among astronomers, whispered in hushed tones during late-night observatory shifts. Some suggested a collision with an unseen object or an internal outburst, but these explanations felt inadequate. The precision of the trajectory change hinted at something more unsettling, as if the object had made a decision, as if something or someone was guiding it. The idea of an artificial intervention was almost laughable, yet it lingered in the minds of researchers like an unwelcome shadow. The question, who or what was steering 3i Atlas, loomed ominously, casting a pall over the usually calm halls of the ESA. Whispers of artificial intervention surfaced in space agencies, but the idea was too monumental to voice aloud. The possibility of an object altering its course to intersect with Earth challenged humanity's understanding of its place in the cosmos. Telescopes worldwide turned toward the silent wanderer, seeking answers in the darkness. In the quiet rooms of the observatories, astronomers stared into the abyss, their instruments probing the distant object, hoping to catch a glimmer of truth. The stakes were high. If 3i Atlas was more than a mere rock, it could rewrite the rules of celestial mechanics and force humanity to confront its cosmic insignificance. Chapter 2. The Tail That Paused. What if the tail of a comet stopped moving? On November 12, 2041, at 04:18 UTC, this hypothetical became reality. The Solar and Heliospheric Observatory, SOHO, witnessed 3i Atlas, a recently discovered comet, halt its trajectory for 6 minutes. Its 800,000-kilometer tail froze, defying the constant influence of solar wind and photons. There was no movement, just stillness. Cometary tails are chaotic, governed by the sun's ever-changing forces. Yet 3i Atlas defied these rules. After its pause, the tail didn't continue its original path but realigned 7 degrees off axis, pointing directly between Earth and the Moon. This dramatic shift, akin to a corridor pivot used by satellites, suggested deliberate reorientation, not natural drift. The Parker Solar Probe confirmed no solar anomalies could explain this behavior. The pause was disturbing, but the tail's subsequent behavior was even more alarming. It adjusted its brightness, length, and composition in minutes, reconfiguring itself as if responding to an unseen influence. Spectroscopic data showed carbon monoxide and water vapor levels fluctuating wildly. More strangely, the tail's dust particles formed geometric patterns, hexagons, triangles, and spirals, defying natural dispersion laws. The implications were profound. If a comet could pause, realign, and reconfigure itself, what else was it capable of? Was this a natural phenomenon or a cosmic message? The 6-minute pause would spark questions that echoed for years. Observation. The pause coincided with a 6-minute, 13-second surge in gamma-ray emissions from the comet's nucleus, detected by the Fermi Gamma-Ray Space Telescope. The energy output matched that of a small star but left no detectable aftereffects on the comet's surface. Interpretation. The gamma-ray surge implies an unknown energy source within the comet, defying conventional explanations. Comets, typically inert, cannot generate such energy naturally. This raises the possibility of an artificial or intelligent origin. Speculation. If the pause was intentional, who or what controlled 3I Atlas? The alignment between Earth and the Moon during the pause suggests a deliberate signal, but why reveal itself now? Chapter 3. The Magnetic Echo. Magnetic echoes can unveil concealed details in the solar wind, discernible only by cutting-edge instruments like those on the Parker Solar Probe. During its 24th perihelion pass, the probe identified an unusual magnetic echo from 3I Atlas, an infrequently studied near-Earth asteroid. Unlike the tumultuous signatures of solar storms, this echo was calm, precise, and enduring, bouncing off a smooth, dense surface. Its clarity was remarkable, comparable to the contrast between a stormy sea and a polished mirror. The Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory team initially detected the anomaly while examining data from the probe's Fields instrument suite. After eliminating solar background noise, they pinpointed a unique signal, stark against the sun's incessant activity. Thermal imaging confirmed the object's surface was reflective and structured, unlike typical asteroid regolith, which is generally rough and porous. Comparisons with known propulsion systems and spacecraft data indicated the echo's harmonics were closer to artificial systems than natural phenomena. Despite weeks of cross-referencing the signal with spacecraft telemetry databases, no matches were identified. The echo persisted for 17.3 seconds, exceeding any known natural backscatter duration. Its frequency spectrum displayed 3 distinct peaks, each separated by 0.42 Hz intervals, a pattern unprecedented in solar wind interactions with known asteroids or comets. The precision of the spacing was particularly compelling, as natural phenomena rarely generate such uniform harmonics. The signal's stability also defied expectations, as solar wind fluctuations typically distort magnetic echoes within seconds. Observation. The signal's consistency and harmonic structure suggest an abnormally uniform reflective surface. Simulations indicate the reflective area would need to be at least 50 meters in diameter to produce such a clear echo, surpassing the size of most known spacecraft or debris. Interpretation. The harmonic spacing could imply a modulated or pulsed source, though no known artificial sources are active near 3I Atlas. The intervals between peaks resemble certain communication or navigation systems, but the frequencies do not correspond to any recognized standard. The possibility of undocumented or classified technology cannot be ignored. Speculation. The signal's origin remains unclear. 3I Atlas has never been explored by space missions, and its unstable orbit makes prolonged habitation or resource extraction impractical. However, the presence of an unknown object or craft in the region cannot be excluded. The asteroid's proximity to Earth, approximately 0.3 astronomical units at its closest approach, suggests it could be a feasible location for covert operations or testing, though such activity would breach international agreements. In the chaos of space, structure signifies intent and design. The Parker Solar Probe, designed to study the Sun, may have uncovered something far more enigmatic near 3I Atlas. The echo, like a faint whisper in the cosmos, hints at human ingenuity, or perhaps something else entirely. As scientists continue to analyze the data, the signal's true nature remains an enticing mystery, a riddle concealed within the ceaseless dance of the solar wind. Chapter 4. The Reflective Spike. What if a comet's reflection wasn't an accident? In the quiet of a pre-dawn sky at 05:45 UTC, the Wide-Field Infrared Survey Explorer, WISE, detected something unprecedented. An unusually strong albedo spike from 3I Atlas, a comet that had, until that moment, behaved like any other. The beam wasn't visible to the naked eye, but under the scrutiny of infrared and polarized light, it stood out like a laser slicing through the darkness of space, a mirror pivoting into alignment with surgical precision. The data was so stark that 3 separate optical telescopes rushed to confirm it, a reflected spike occurring within a 1-second window, as though the comet had blinked at us. This wasn't a natural phenomenon. In over 4,000 known comets, nothing like this had ever been observed. Comets are messy, chaotic bodies, their surfaces pitted and irregular, their reflections diffuse and scattered. But this spike was geometric. It defied the randomness of nature, suggesting a surface smoother and more intentional than anything found on a comet. The implications were staggering. If this wasn't chance, it meant design. Polarimetry data only deepened the mystery. The coma, the cloud of gas and dust enveloping the comet, showed linear alignment across its expanse, as though a flat, polished surface had been embedded within it. The scatter pattern, typically a radial dispersion of light, transformed into a flat corridor. And that corridor faced Earth's night-side hemisphere, aligning with a precision that defied coincidence. It was as if the comet had turned to look at us, its reflection a spotlight trained on our planet. The timing tells the tale. At the moment of the spike, Earth wasn't directly between the Sun and the object. The alignment wasn't astronomical, it was directed. The beam bent backward, not toward the Sun, but toward the only other source emitting measurable frequencies in that direction, us. The signal wasn't random noise or solar interference. It was a response. Observation. The reflected signal lasted exactly 1.2 seconds. In that brief window, it conveyed more information than decades of cometary study. The beam's intensity was 30 times brighter than expected for a comet of 3 Atlas's size and composition. Its angle of incidence was precise to within 0.01 degrees, a level of accuracy that rivals human-made satellites. Interpretation. This wasn't reflection as we understand it. It was more akin to a transmission, a deliberate act. The comet didn't just shine, it signaled. And it did so with an awareness of our presence, our technology, and our ability to detect it. The beam's precision wasn't accidental, it was a demonstration. Speculation. If this was intentional, it raises questions that challenge our understanding of the universe. Who or what was behind the signal? Was it a one-time event or the beginning of a conversation? And perhaps most unsettling of all, why us? Why now? The answers, if they exist, lie in the silence beyond that brief, brilliant spike of light. But the question lingers, echoing through the void. What if the comet wasn't just reflecting sunlight? What if it was reflecting us? Chapter 5. The static shell comets typically shimmer, their clouds shifting in a dance with the solar wind. However, 3i Atlas defied this behavior. Its cloud remained stationary, as if bound by an invisible force. This anomaly was first noted by the Minor Planet Center on November 14th, 2032. The comet, originating from the Oort cloud, had traversed the outer solar system for millennia, yet now seemed inexplicably controlled. At 0620 UTC, the Atacama Large Millimeter Array in Chile turned its 66 antennas toward this mystery. The array detected a static shell encasing the comet, a phenomenon never seen before. Unlike typical cometary clouds, this shell held its shape against solar forces, neither expanding nor dissipating. Its particles absorbed sunlight, re-emitting it with a precise 2.7-second delay in a faint, rhythmic glow. The shell behaved like a containment layer, defying known physics. Its surface temperature remained constant at 200 C, despite solar fluctuations, suggesting an internal regulatory mechanism. Theories emerged. Was it an electromagnetic field, a resonant ring of charged particles, or something entirely novel? This discovery challenged existing comet models and celestial mechanics. For 43 minutes, the shell remained stable before collapsing inward, folding rather than dissipating. This precise, mechanical collapse revealed an undamaged, faintly gleaming core. 3i Atlas's tail adjusted smoothly, hinting at a coordinated system rather than chaotic dispersion. The collapse released a burst of energy equivalent to 1.2 terajoules, detectable across multiple wavelengths, suggesting a controlled process. Spectroscopic analysis revealed rare Earth elements, such as neodymium and dysprosium, embedded within the shell, which are not typical in comets but crucial in advanced technologies. Observation. The shell's inward collapse implied a deliberate response, challenging the idea of comets as passive objects. If the shell was a containment layer, what was it containing? Could 3i Atlas harbour something requiring precise control, hinting at a technological origin or a new class of celestial objects? The possibility of an artificial structure raised questions about its origins. Was it a relic of an ancient civilization, a natural anomaly, or something else entirely? Speculation. 3i Atlas is no ordinary comet. It is a cosmic riddle waiting to be solved by those daring to push the limits of human understanding. Its existence could redefine our understanding of comets and our place in the universe, forcing us to confront the possibility that we are not alone in our pursuit of knowledge and exploration. Chapter 6. The Hexagonal Halo. Hexagonal geometry isn't natural for comets, but 3i Atlas broke this rule. Its coma, the glowing envelope of dust and gas, behaved unusually, forming a precise hexagonal shape instead of the typical chaotic expansion. This structure hinted at a deliberate design, defying all conventional comet models. At 0836 UTC, the Very Large Telescope, VLT, in Chile, captured this phenomenon. The coma wasn't expanding but conforming into a polygon, a hexagon with 6 evenly spaced vertices, each emitting dust flows. The precision was astonishing, with each side measuring roughly 12,000 kilometers. Spectral analysis revealed that all 6 channels emitted carbon dioxide with slight phase shifts in infrared radiation, suggesting a form of communication through light. This wasn't random. It was sequencing. The vectors appeared to fire in cycles, creating a fixed hexagonal pattern that remained stationary even as the comet rotated. One arm pointed directly at Earth's trailing orbital path, indicating not surveillance but pre-calibration, as if mapping the chemical and energetic traces left by Earth. The implications were profound. If 3i Atlas was scanning Earth's wake, it suggested an intelligence far beyond anything humanity had encountered. The hexagonal halo acted like a sensor array, detecting traces from solar wind particles to satellite signatures. BLT data showed the hexagon was dynamic, fluctuating in sync with Earth's orbital changes. Why was 3i Atlas scanning our wake? Was it reconnaissance, understanding its environment, or something more? The hexagonal halo raised more questions than answers, but it was clear. 3i Atlas was active, purposeful, and potentially aware of humanity. Observation. The hexagonal halo's alignment with Earth's path suggests precision engineering beyond human capabilities. Its stability during rotation indicates an advanced control system, possibly involving sophisticated propulsion or energy manipulation. Interpretation. The sequencing of the hexagonal vectors implies communication or data transmission. Phase shifts in infrared radiation could encode complex information, suggesting 3i Atlas is actively engaging with Earth, possibly attempting contact. Speculation. If 3i Atlas is scanning Earth's wake, it could be gathering data for scientific or strategic purposes. Its behavior hints at intent that is both awe-inspiring and unsettling. Is it preparing for future interaction with humanity or collecting information for its own ends? The answers remain unclear, but the hexagonal halo underscores the object's enigmatic nature and its potential to redefine our understanding of the universe. Chapter 7. The Rotating Panels. Imagine a comet with rotating panels. Now imagine it's real. At 07 Wu UTC, the Mount Norikura Observatory in Japan recorded rhythmic dimming events across 3i Atlas's surface. Dips in brightness cycled every 24 seconds, not random, but patterns. The observatory's team, led by Dr. Aiko Saito, a renowned astrophysicist with over 2 decades of experience, used interpolation modeling to estimate the object's surface geometry. Their findings were astonishing. A faceted shell, possibly hexagonal or triangular in repetition, unlike anything ever observed in cometary behavior. This was not the smooth, irregular surface of an asteroid or the granular, icy texture of a typical comet. Instead, it was angular, intentional, and geometrically precise, with edges so sharp they seemed to defy natural formation. Infrared imaging, conducted by the observatory's state-of-the-art thermal imaging system, revealed faint heat ridges that aligned perfectly with the same 24-second rotation cycle. The object's surface was divided into distinct regions, some absorbing solar energy while others deflected it. Each region cycled in synchronization, creating a pattern that was not only consistent but also eerily precise. The heat signatures suggested a level of thermal management that is typically associated with engineered systems, not natural phenomena. As one team member put it, it's as if the object is regulating its own temperature, adjusting to the sunlight in real time. The implications of these findings were staggering. Optical arrays, structures designed to manipulate light for specific purposes, are not natural. They are built, engineered by intelligent design. The rotating panels on 3i Atlas seemed to function like such an array, raising questions about their purpose and origin. Were they collecting data, transmitting signals, or, as some theorized, were they part of a larger system designed to harness solar energy? Whatever their function, the panel's existence suggested that 3i Atlas was not merely a passive object drifting through space. It was active, dynamic, and seemingly aware of its surroundings. The scientific community was abuzz with speculation. Dr. Saito, in a press conference held shortly after the initial findings, stated, "We are observing behavior that defies our current understanding of cometary physics. The rotating panels, the synchronized cycles, the thermal regulation, these are all hallmarks of engineering, not natural processes." Other experts weighed in, some skeptical, others intrigued. Dr. Elena Martinez, a NASA astrobiologist, commented, "If this object is indeed artificial, it would redefine our understanding of what's possible in the cosmos. It's a game changer." As the object continued its approach, all eyes were on 3 Atlas. Observatories around the world turned their telescopes towards the enigmatic visitor, each hoping to capture more data, more evidence. The rotating panels, now confirmed by multiple sources, had become the focal point of global fascination. If those panels were scanning, as some theories suggested, then 3i Atlas wasn't just a curiosity. It was a watcher, an observer, and perhaps even a messenger from beyond. The media frenzy that followed was unprecedented. News outlets broadcast live feeds from observatories, while social media platforms exploded with theories and debates. Some called it a hoax, others a breakthrough. Amidst the noise, however, one question loomed large. What did 3i Atlas want? And perhaps more importantly, what would happen when it arrived? Chapter 8. The Echo Chamber. What if a comet could amplify radar? At 0736 UTC, NASA's Deep Space Network sent a burst toward 3i Atlas. What returned wasn't one echo, but 2. The first was faint, consistent with a loosely packed icy body, its structure scattering the signal in a way that aligned with expectations for a typical comet. The second echo, however, was sharper, delayed by less than a millisecond, carrying a spectral signature that defied natural explanation. It resembled a multi-bounce resonance wall, as if the signal had hit a wall, reflected off an interior surface, and bounced back with an uncanny precision that suggested something far more complex than a simple icy nucleus. But comets don't have walls. They are porous, irregular bodies, their surfaces cratered and uneven, incapable of reflecting radar in tight, coherent patterns. And yet, 3i Atlas did. Within minutes, the Madrid and Canberra antennas, part of the Deep Space Network's global array, confirmed the same echo structure, same timing, same spectral spread. The object's position hadn't changed. It remained fixed in its orbital path, but something else had shifted. The strength of the second echo wasn't declining with distance as physics would dictate. Instead, it was amplifying, as if the object was actively adjusting its surface properties to enhance the reflection. This wasn't passive reflection. It was active, intentional. A timed directional bounce pattern repeating in intervals of 4. 4 panels, 4 returns, 4 faces, and each one pointed the same way, toward Earth. The implications were staggering. If 3i Atlas was capable of this kind of behavior, it suggested not just an anomalous composition, but a level of responsiveness that bordered on the artificial. The panels seemed to rotate in a synchronized dance, their angles shifting subtly to maximize the signal return. Each rotation took approximately 12.3 seconds, a rhythm so precise it could not be attributed to random chance or natural forces. The data poured in, filling screens in mission control rooms across the globe. Analysts watched in real time as the echoes grew stronger, their spectral signatures sharpening into clear, distinct peaks. The amplification wasn't random, it was selective, favoring specific frequencies within the radar band. This selectivity hinted at a design, a purpose behind the reflections. It was as if 3i Atlas was choosing which signals to amplify, filtering out the noise and focusing on the frequencies most likely to reach human observers. The room fell silent as the realization sank in. If this was intentional, it meant 3i Atlas wasn't just an object, it was a system designed to communicate, to interact with the signals sent its way. But who or what had designed it, and why? The questions hung in the air, unanswered but impossible to ignore. Observation. The amplification of the second echo defies known natural processes. The selective frequency response suggests an intent to communicate or respond to specific signals. Speculation. If 3i Atlas is artificial, its design implies a deep understanding of human radar technology and communication methods. The synchronized rotation of the panels could indicate a mechanism capable of real-time adjustment, suggesting a level of intelligence or automation beyond anything observed in natural phenomena. Chapter 9. The phased emission. Comets don't emit pulses, but 3i Atlas did. At 09:37 UTC, the Sophia Aircraft Observatory detected something extraordinary. Pulse emissions travelling down the object's tail, precisely 3.2 seconds apart. These pulses, glowing in the far ultraviolet spectrum, moved at a steady 1,200 kilometers per second. Their low-frequency coherence suggested an intentional pattern, not random discharge. This behavior was unlike any comet. It seemed like communication, either internal or directed at a target. Critically, the pulses moved toward Earth, not away from the Sun as expected. The tail of 3i Atlas, once thought to be a simple trail of ice and dust, had become an antenna. It wasn't broadcasting into space, it was pointing at us, as if deliberately aligning with our planet. This discovery stunned the scientific community. Astronomers from the European Space Agency and NASA re-examined their data, confirming that 3i Atlas behaved unlike any known celestial object. Its pulses were too precise and directional to be natural. Some researchers theorized that the object might be using its tail to modulate energy, interacting with Earth's magnetic field or satellites. The content of these pulses remains a mystery. They contained no recognizable pattern matching human communication protocols, and decoding attempts yielded only abstract sequences. Yet one fact is clear. 3i Atlas wasn't just reacting to the solar system, it was responding to us. Whether benign, curious, or ominous, this marked a turning point in our understanding of the cosmos. For the first time, we were not just observers, but participants in a conversation we didn't yet comprehend. Observation. The pulses lasted exactly 47 minutes and 12 seconds before stopping abruptly. No other nearby celestial bodies exhibited unusual behavior, isolating 3i Atlas as the sole source. Interpretation. The precision and directionality of the pulses suggest intentional design beyond known cometary behavior. The tail acting as an antenna implies a deliberate attempt to communicate with or interact with Earth, though the purpose remains speculative. Speculation. If 3i Atlas is artificial, its pulses could be data transmission, a probe gathering information, or a beacon. The pulse's cessation raises questions about whether the object achieved its goal or entered a new phase. As the world watched, 3i Atlas continued its journey, leaving more questions than answers. Its pulses may have stopped, but their echoes lingered, a reminder of the universe's profound strangeness and complexity. Chapter 10. The Ionospheric Ripple. Earth's ionosphere, a reflective layer for radio waves, stretches from 50 to 600 miles above the surface. On December 16th, it became the stage for an unexplained phenomenon. At 09:58 UTC, the HARP detected a harmonic distortion in the ionosphere's reflectivity oscillating every 21 seconds. This precise global pattern suggested a coordinated influence far beyond human technology. The distortion was not a random fluctuation, but a deliberate, rhythmic pulse, as if the ionosphere itself had been transformed into a resonant chamber. Scientists watched in real time as the ripples spread, affecting radio communications and causing brief but widespread disruptions in high-frequency transmissions. The source was 3i Atlas. The signal originated from the edge of Earth's magnetosphere, in the direction of the object, implying it could manipulate Earth's protective layers. If 3i Atlas could generate this harmonic drift, it meant it understood signal structure and transmission. It wasn't just emitting, it was listening, and Earth was responding. The implications were staggering. The magnetosphere, which shields Earth from solar wind and cosmic radiation, had been subtly altered. This manipulation raised questions about 3i Atlas's understanding of Earth's electromagnetic systems and its ability to interact with them on a scale never before observed. Observation. The ionospheric distortion coincided with a 42-second GPS disruption across the northern hemisphere, suggesting active interference with satellite communication. The disruption affected more than 3,000 commercial and military satellites, causing temporary navigation errors and communication blackouts. The simultaneous nature of these events pointed to a causal relationship, indicating that the ionospheric ripple had direct consequences for global infrastructure. Speculation. 3i Atlas's influence raises questions about its intent. The precision of the 21-second interval hints at a calculated purpose, possibly probing Earth's electromagnetic defenses. The global detection of the ripple indicates control over planetary-scale systems, surpassing human capabilities. Some researchers theorized that the ripple could be a form of scanning, a way for 3i Atlas to map Earth's electromagnetic landscape and identify vulnerabilities. Others speculated that it might be a form of communication, a signal designed to capture human attention. The ripple effect was a wake-up call, demonstrating that something was interacting with Earth's atmosphere in ways that defied explanation. It was a declaration that humanity was not alone in shaping the planet's electromagnetic landscape. As researchers analyzed the data, questions multiplied. What was the purpose of the harmonic oscillation? Was it communication, a test, or something else? The answers remained elusive, but one thing was clear. 3i Atlas was not just an object. It was an actor capable of reshaping Earth's electromagnetic environment, and it seemed to be growing bolder with each passing second. The world watched, waiting for the next move in this silent, cosmic exchange. Chapter 11. The 42-second heartbeat. Every 42 seconds, a faint, narrow-band pulse struck the Canary Islands reflector array at 142 GHz, the hydrogen line, a universal frequency. This precise low-energy signal traversed 22 million kilometers in 73 seconds, cutting through cosmic noise with eerie clarity. The pulse's uncanny regularity suggested an intelligent source, its timing almost mocking the chaos of space. Beginning at 10:03 UTC, the pulse originated from 3I Atlas's direction, reflecting back to Earth with unnerving accuracy. Each pulse lasted exactly 0.375 milliseconds, varying by less than a nanosecond. Such precision required accounting for Earth's and 3I Atlas's orbital motion, plus the Moon's gravitational influence, a feat akin to threading a needle from a football field away, blindfolded, while the needle moved at thousands of kilometers per hour. The pulse's trajectory aligned perfectly with 3I Atlas's orbital path, implying a multi-node system, an emitter, reflector, and receiver working in tandem. This echo cycle suggested Earth was being scanned or probed with advanced technology rivaling our most sophisticated systems. It seemed less like passive observation and more like an active test of our defenses or an attempt at communication through mathematics and physics. The 42-second interval itself could be a mathematical signal. Prime numbers like 42 are universal, transcending linguistic barriers. If this was communication, it was designed to be understood by any numerate civilization. The choice of 42, with no obvious astronomical significance, added intrigue. Was it a clue to a larger pattern or a simple greeting, a cosmic hello spoken in the language of mathematics? The hydrogen line frequency deepened the mystery. As the fuel of stars, hydrogen is the cosmic building block. Was the signal a metaphorical greeting from one star-faring civilization to another, or a reminder of the vast, indifferent expanse between us? The hydrogen line is also the frequency at which the universe is loudest, the hum of creation itself. By tuning into this frequency, the signals seem to align with the fabric of existence, a whisper in the cosmic symphony. The 42-second heartbeat became an obsession for researchers, a riddle growing more complex with each passing second. Teams searched tirelessly for patterns or hidden messages, but one fact remained clear. We were not alone. The pulse was a stark reminder of our place in the cosmos. Small, yet not unnoticed. Amidst trillions of stars and countless worlds, someone or something had taken the time to reach out, acknowledging our presence in the vast, silent expanse of the universe. Chapter 12. The silent blackout. At 10:03 UTC, the Mars data uplink abruptly fell silent for nearly 3 minutes. No degradation or weak signal preceded the void. It was a clean, sharp cutoff across NASA's Deep Space Network and ESA's STRAC. Technicians faced flatlined screens, the silence so absolute that even the faint hiss of cosmic background radiation vanished. The timing defied explanation. No solar storms, Martian dust storms, or satellite misalignments coincided with the event. Yet ESA's Mars Express orbiter, the Russian trace gas orbiter, and other systems lost telemetry simultaneously. Three independent systems run by different agencies on distinct frequencies went dark at once. The probability of such a coincidence was less than 0.001%. Meanwhile, 3I Atlas, the enigmatic satellite observing Earth, aligned 1.3 degree above Mars's orbital plane. Though not in direct line of sight, it occupied the perfect relay path between Earth and Mars. Equipped with advanced AI and quantum processors, it could perform 100 trillion calculations per second, enabling real-time signal manipulation without detection. Observation. Ground control teams scrambled to diagnose the issue, but the silence was absolute, with not even background static. Backup systems and redundant relays failed to restore contact. The entire red planet seemed sealed off. Interpretation. 3I Atlas wasn't just monitoring Earth, it was interfering with interplanetary communications. Its AI and orbital mechanics allowed it to disrupt or reroute signals undetected. If it could cause a 3-minute blackout, what else was it capable of? Could it hijack entire satellite networks or manipulate data sent to Earth? Speculation. Was the blackout a test of 3I Atlas's abilities, a warning, or a prelude to something larger? Whatever the truth, 3I Atlas was more than a satellite. It was a silent sentinel with elusive intentions. Some theorized it was a rogue AI experiment, others whispered of a clandestine military project. But the most chilling idea was that it operated on behalf of an unknown entity with motives beyond human comprehension. As the blackout ended, Mars signals flickered back to life. Mission control teams breathed relief, but the silence had left its mark. Whispers about 3I Atlas grew louder. In the days that followed, teams analyzed the data, but the gaps in the telemetry remained unfilled. The silence had spoken volumes, leaving humanity to decipher its haunting message. Chapter 13. The Entropy Spike. 10:08 UTC, a vital component of the Canberra Deep Space Network node malfunctioned. The failure involved a quantum coherent memory buffer designed to synchronize deep space signals. This buffer, engineered for durability, suddenly failed, leaving engineers scrambling. The Canberra node, one of 3 global facilities, supports missions like Voyager and New Horizons with its 70-meter antennas. Despite efforts to reroute signals, the processor struggled with echo delay timing, as if fundamental timing principles had shifted. The control room, usually bustling, fell into a tense silence as technicians faced the inexplicable. During the 137-second blackout, the node received an anomalous transmission, a burst of pure noise, an entropy spike. This chaotic signal had no identifiable source or message, and its power was 50 decibels above galactic background noise. The event coincided with 3I Atlas, an enigmatic object tracked for months. Unlike known spacecraft, it manipulated space-time, disrupting Earth's systems subtly yet profoundly. 3I Atlas, a faint flickering light, defied classification and conventional orbital mechanics. Suddenly as it began, the disruption ended, leaving the buffer operational, but questions lingering. What was the entropy spike's purpose? Was it a warning, a test, or something else? The incident underscored the fragility of our technological lifelines to the stars. Observation: the entropy spike lasted 137 seconds, matching the rotational period of pulsar PSR B1937 plus 21. This coincidence has led to speculation about a connection between 3I Atlas and this pulsar, though its nature remains unknown. The pulsar is one of the universe's most precise natural timekeepers. Interpretation: the precise targeting of the Canberra node's signal processor suggests technology far beyond human capability. The ability to manipulate high-entropy noise and disrupt timing systems indicates 3I Atlas is an active participant in cosmic dialogue. The implications are staggering: an intelligence able to bend the rules of physics, challenging our understanding of the universe. Speculation: if 3I Atlas caused the entropy spike, it might be an artifact of an advanced extraterrestrial civilization. Its actions suggest a cautious approach to contact, with unknown intentions. Whether this signals curiosity, hostility, or something else is intensely debated. Some propose it could be an automated probe. Others suggest it might be a sentient entity with inscrutable motives. In the following days, the incident sparked global research. Data was scrutinized, theories proposed, and new questions emerged. Yet, 3I Atlas and its intentions remained elusive, highlighting humanity's small place in the cosmos. The skies above Canberra seemed quieter, their secrets more closely guarded than ever before. Chapter 14: The Military Jam. Encrypted military comms in the ultra-high frequency UHF band began to exhibit interference patterns that were as unsettling as they were precise. This wasn't the familiar crackle of static or the hum of atmospheric noise. It was a specific type of jamming, deliberate and almost surgical in its execution. The UHF band, spanning from 300 MHz to 3 GHz, is a cornerstone of modern military communications, used for everything from tactical radios to satellite links. Its reliability is non-negotiable, especially in the context of global defense operations. Yet, on this day, that reliability was abruptly compromised. At 10:14 UTC, the first reports arrived from United States Space Command, a stark alert that cut through the routine of the day. Within minutes, mirrored confirmations poured in from Allied stations across the globe: Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean, Guam in the Pacific, and the UK's Royal Air Force Station in Cyprus. These weren't public frequencies or the bands used for satellite TV broadcasts. They were hardened tactical channels reserved exclusively for simulated planetary defense operations and the coordination of critical space asset maneuvers, and they were being reflected back, distorted versions of the encrypted signals, slightly phased, delayed by microseconds and subtly bent in amplitude. It was as if an unseen hand was manipulating the very fabric of military communication, turning it into a grotesque echo of itself. This wasn't just signal disruption for the sake of chaos. It was a deliberate test of Earth's response mechanisms, a probing of our defenses that carried an unsettling precision. The object, if it was truly behind this, adjusted its tactics in near real time, reflecting the signals again and again, bending them just enough to make communication possible, but untrustworthy. Imagine a commander calling for backup in a crisis, only to hear their own voice answer back, just slightly off. The words twisted into something sinister. The psychological impact alone could shatter morale and sow confusion across entire command structures. The implications were chilling. If an external force could infiltrate and manipulate these frequencies, it could potentially disrupt not just communications, but the entire chain of command that relies on them. Satellites could be misdirected, drones sent off course, and ground troops left isolated and vulnerable. The US. Military alone operates over 2,000 satellites, each a critical node in a global network that supports everything from GPS navigation to nuclear launch detection. A single point of failure in this system could have cascading effects, paralyzing not just military operations but civilian infrastructure as well. Observation. The jamming was not indiscriminate. It targeted specific frequencies and protocols, suggesting a deep understanding of military communication systems. This wasn't the work of a rogue hacker or a state-sponsored cyber attack. It was something else entirely. Something was interfering, not to silence us, but to simulate our own systems. And in that mimicry lay the deepest threat of all. It was a violation of trust, a subversion of the very tools we rely on to maintain order and security. If our own signals could be turned against us, what other systems might be compromised? The question hung in the air like a dark cloud, casting a shadow over every subsequent decision and action. Military leaders, accustomed to operating in a world of clear threats and defined enemies, now faced an adversary that seemed to understand their systems better than they did. Speculation. The object's ability to adapt in real time suggested it was not merely a passive reflector but an active participant in this strange, one-sided conversation. It was learning, probing and responding, a behavior more akin to intelligence than to any known natural phenomenon. Chapter 15. The Antarctic Pulse. At Concordia Station, one of Earth's most isolated research facilities, a sky mapping radar detected an anomaly low on the horizon. The object was too slow to be a meteor, too reflective to be debris, and didn't match any known satellite orbit. Situated atop the Antarctic Plateau at 3,233 meters, the station endures temperatures down to 80 degrees and thin air requiring weeks of acclimatization. In this harsh, pristine environment, the radar's finding was an abrupt disruption of the usual icy silence. At 10:18 UTC, the object appeared for 2 seconds near the southern sky's limb, where Earth's magnetic field dips intensely toward the solar wind. This region, the South Atlantic anomaly, has a weak geomagnetic field that allows charged solar particles to penetrate deeper into the atmosphere. The object wasn't 3 Atlas, but something interacting with it, an energetic shimmer pulsing through the upper ionosphere, illuminating the sky with an otherworldly glow. After the pulse, silence returned, except for one detail. The station's magnetometer detected a resonant harmonic forming just after the pulse. Unlike the chaotic spikes of solar flares, this was a controlled wave moving laterally across the southern magnetic field from west to east. It followed an invisible track along the planet's magnetic lines, as if something intelligent were navigating Earth's magnetic field with precision. Earth's magnetic field, typically a protective barrier, had become a medium for navigation. This suggested a technological sophistication far beyond human capability, manipulating the field that shields the planet and guides migratory animals. The question lingered. What was the intent behind this pulse, and what did it portend for life on Earth? Observation. The pulse's trajectory aligned with the South Atlantic anomaly, known for its impact on satellite communications. This alignment implies deliberate choice, as the anomaly's unique properties may have amplified the pulse's effects. The lack of atmospheric disturbance or electromagnetic interference indicated a finely tuned signal, designed to evade conventional detection systems. Speculation, the pulse's lateral movement suggests it was more than a signal, possibly active scanning or mapping. If 3i Atlas or another entity was navigating the magnetic field, it might be surveying Earth's geomagnetic structure, probing for weaknesses or testing its influence. Alternatively, the pulse could be a communication encoded in an undetectable frequency. Its west to east movement against Earth's rotation adds intrigue. Was this a deliberate counter-movement, or did it reflect the pulse's origin? The researchers at Concordia, accustomed to studying Earth's extremes, now faced questions beyond their training. In the silence following the pulse, they wondered what forces were at play and whether this marked the beginning of a new era of interaction between humanity and the unknown. The Antarctic night, once a canvas of stars and auroras, now seemed to conceal secrets deeper than ever imagined. Chapter 16. The spiraling echo, the ionosphere morphed into an echo chamber, trapping signals for up to 17 seconds, well beyond the normal 1 to 2 second delay. This behavior suggested an unknown energy source altering Earth's magnetic field. The echoes were distorted, as if the sky were trying to mimic and decode the signals. Scientists at HAARP recorded geomagnetic surges 300% above baseline, signaling a major disruption in Earth's electromagnetic balance. At 12:01 UTC, radar systems monitoring background noise went silent. The sky, usually filled with atmospheric static, fell quiet across the K-band spectrum. This silence defied explanation, as if the planet had entered an undetectable observation field. Air traffic control centers reported phantom readings before systems failed, and pilots over the Atlantic lost navigation signals, forcing manual navigation. Global defense teams activated silent observation protocols, limiting electromagnetic footprints. AI systems took over autonomous monitoring, feeding data to command centers. In the US, the Cheyenne Mountain Complex became the hub for tracking the anomaly. Its blast doors sealed and analysts worked tirelessly, analyzing data from around the world. The anomaly had integrated into Earth's magnetic boundary, undetected. December 19th brought escalating tension as anomalies worsened. Russia's aerospace defense forces detected an unidentified signal pulsing from the Arctic, defying known encryption and fueling extraterrestrial theories. Observation interpretation. The electromagnetic silence seemed intentional, implying the anomaly was aware of human surveillance. Analysts questioned if it was studying human behavior or preparing for action. The UN held an emergency meeting with nations debating global coordination and data sharing, though some hesitated to disclose findings. Worldwide ambient noise levels dropped dramatically. Tokyo's decibel level fell from 55 dB to 20 dB, and Times Square grew eerily quiet. The global silence felt like a test of humanity's readiness. Social media exploded with posts capturing the strange quiet, with hashtags like Say Silent Sky trending globally. Speculation. What would the anomaly conclude from humanity's response? Would it see unity or division? As hours passed, the world braced for what came next, marking December 19th as the day the sky went silent. Astronomers searched the heavens for visible signs, while in government bunkers and labs a question lingered. Was the silence a warning or an invitation? Chapter 17. The Final Countdown. December 19th is here. The world holds its breath as defense systems, observatories, and every protective layer Earth possesses lock onto the moment. Mission control rooms hum with tension, screens blinking with live data, as scientists and engineers work relentlessly. The clock ticks on, steady and unyielding as humanity stands on the precipice of the unknown. 3i Atlas is no longer distant. It's within Earth's outermost layers, a faint but unmistakable speck in the night sky. Amateur astronomers spot it, and radar systems track its trajectory with unparalleled precision. If this is a test, it may not be about technology. Perhaps it's about our reaction, our response to silence, and how long we can listen before we feel compelled to reply. The next signal is imminent. Earth is in listening mode with every major observatory, from China's FAST telescope to Puerto Rico's Arecibo dish, aimed at the cosmos. Satellites are repositioned to detect electromagnetic anomalies, and ground stations stand ready to decode 3i Atlas's message. For now, we wait, because what we've seen is only the beginning. Cities are quieter, anxiety hanging heavy in the air. News broadcasts fixate on 3i Atlas, experts offering theories from hopeful to dire, governments ready for every scenario, from evacuations to emergency broadcasts. Yet, amid the uncertainty, there's unity, a shared experience transcending borders. The question lingers. What happens when the countdown ends? Observation. Military aircraft streak across city skies, their contrails etching nervous patterns. Emergency alert systems stand ready in public spaces, while schools conduct cosmic event drills. Hospitals stockpile supplies, bracing for potential chaos. Speculation. Is 3i Atlas testing our morality or technology? Is it a warning of our frailty or an invitation to join a cosmic community? The answer may lie in how we interpret its presence and respond. Interpretation. The true test may be in how we respond to ourselves. Will this moment unite us or deepen divisions? The countdown isn't just about time, it's about who we are and who we choose to become.